Hey, Forex Fortune Hunters, it's Tom Wilmot. We're going to drill down on our new template Super GMMA2 in this video. We're going to show you where to enter, how to respect different time frames, and how to make sure that equity curve is going up and to the right. We're going to focus on the pound and the yen in this video. I hope you'll get a kick out of it, and if it's of interest, hold on to your hat. We'll get started right after this. Okay, friends, as I mentioned in the intro, we're going to focus our efforts today on the pound and the yen. I've been using this for the last month as my go-to currency pair because volatility has been there. And even though the pip spread is like 3 or 4 pips, I'm getting enough return on my investment because of the volatility to make it worthwhile. Now, that doesn't include every period during the day, but it does include for sure this time after the 9 o'clock hour that we put on our previous video as a part of our template. And basically, I'd like to show you, before we continue, why I did that. Let's go to Insert Indicators, down here to Volumes. And what I'd like to do now is bring the volume in here, and I'm not going to make it on all time frames, just the 30-minute chart. This is a little tip for you. Notice that in this Asian session, which runs from this white dotted line, and that's why I made this line here white, so you'd see it more clearly. But notice in this area here, we really do not have the volume that we do in the period after that, especially into the U.S. session these days. Okay, the same thing would be true over here. Our volume is very low in the early Asian session. Notice here the same thing is true. We don't get our burst of power and our volatility until later on. So that's sort of a fact I wanted to share with you, and it's one that I think you should be aware of so that you can decide what kind of trade you want to put on, whether you're looking for 50 pips or whether you're just looking to scalp 8 or 10 pips, which is perfectly possible in the Asian session as well. Just make sure that your dreams and fantasies map against reality. Okay, so to make a long story short, we're recording this on the 1st of November. This is the Monday session here. There's your dotted line for the changeover on Sunday night. Notice once again we had low volume here. Mondays are not typically much more than chop, but here we at least have some more volume to work with during the regular US and London sessions. And so now we're in a situation where when we look back to last Friday, let's just test how our template has been set up to work for us. We take a look here at this. We put our line through. Then we drop down to our 5-minute chart. Okay, now instead of hunting and pecking for that vertical line, remember we right-click. My mouse hasn't been working very well here. It's an old one. I apologize. Objects list. Here's a vertical line. I got 2 on here, but the one is the latest number is right here. So we're going to show that. And now notice that exactly we came right over. Now notice that when we had that crossover on the 30, our 5-minute is already in motion. Here was what we had to show. We're dropping below the Ichimoku cloud. We have a rollover noted by this orange medallion. The red medallion rather, of the multiple moving averages, and I'd recommend you make this input 25, 35 to get you back up there as best you can. But even so, now with our 30, we know we are aligned with the higher time frame, that we do not have to fight against a move in the opposite direction from the higher time frame. That's a key contributor to people losing money in Forex. Now also, note that we could do that either on a 15-minute chart. If you'd like to try the 15-minute, let's go back to that. And here we are here. Notice that the 15-minute gave us a little earlier entry, and you'll have to play around with this yourself. 15 down to 5. Let's see what happens here with this one. And once again, we'll right-click, Indicators List. I'm sorry, not Indicators List, Objects List. I'm having trouble. Monday Morning Blues. And Halloween candy overload, I guess. There's our vertical line. Let's show it. And then we'll come back out again. Okay, now in this case, we had a drop below the cloud here on the 5-minute chart. But bottom line is, even though we were headed downward on our 6 and 12, we never really came out of the Ichimoku cloud with our rollover here of this particular set of multiple moving averages also in time to be below the cloud. Notice here we were headed upwards also. We want to be careful to watch for this. It looks like it's going to work out, but we want to be careful until we see that our 5-minute chart is in line with our 30-minute chart. Let's go back and show you that again. Here it was. And the 15-minute chart. So once again, you have to be a little careful about your time frames. You can test this. It'll be a little more aggressive. You know with your 30 that you're going to be in good shape. Now, let's come down to our 5-minute chart here, because I mentioned that it's possible also for you to do and use this particular set of indicators as your scalping template as well. All right. Let me show you how that would work. Well, first of all, let's move over to this area. Notice that we did not yet have our multiple moving averages on the 5-minute in this area below the cloud. This is the first time. Now we have complete, synchronization of everything. We have a downward facing 6 and 12. We have a downward facing 25, 35. We're below. Notice in this area, we're not yet below the 45 on our RSI, and we had not rolled over yet to the red bar on our histogram for the MACD. So here we are now in that situation. So once those are ready, then we move our bar over and we can drop down to the 1-minute chart. And now what we'll do is our objects list, and we'll come again to our 4,000 period vertical line, and we'll try to, let's see what we got to do. We got to go here to show it. And now we're going to be in a position where maybe we can get into that on the 1-minute chart a little earlier. Here we are, respecting the 6 all the way down. Even here we had a switcheroo, an up and then a down, and then a continuing move. Now, notice that what we've got here, and I'm not sure, I'm going to put this in place again, and we're going to do new Super GMMA2, all right? Okay, and we're going to widen it out. And again, and here we are with our downward facing arrow. This was the place we had back on Friday. And we're in a situation where we could follow this down all the way 39 pips. Then move back up into here. We had some chop during the U.S. early morning session of the stock market. This is in the 9:30 hour, 10:30 hour. Until then we began and also moved down one more time, another 23 pips. And it wasn't until late in the afternoon that we had any kind of threat that we were moving higher. And the question would be now on the 1-minute chart, should we be respecting this move to the north? Well, let's see what our 5-minute looks like. And in fact, notice that the the cards are stacked against us. A bad draw here. We're moving up into the bands. This is not what you want to be fighting. This is what I mean by respecting the higher time frame. On a 1-minute chart, which is this one, that looks like it's going to be a great move, you may want to take it, but you want to be very, very careful not to get caught by this downdraft over here, and keep your goals modest. This would be a 10-pip trade. Nothing wrong with that, but just remember it's a counter trend trade up into the bands, and it's not going to be as strong for you as something in the other direction. Okay, guys, I hope that helps. One last reminder, don't forget each day before you're doing this, especially in scalping, to be sure to look at the Forex.com calendar and Forex Factory calendar, rather, in order to make sure you're not running up against any kind of big Fed or central bank involvement with changes in rate structures and so forth. That can really cause havoc with your particular trade template. But in the meantime, if you have any suggestions or comments or questions, please leave them below. Subscribe to our channel if this is helpful to you. Let us know about your questions, and hit the bell next to subscription if you'd like an alert to our next post on youtube.com. Thanks in the meantime for watching. Take care.